Welcome to the latest episode of the B Movie Club. I'm your host, Kevin. This week we'll be discussing the 1996 horror comedy classic, Bordello of Blood, also known as Tales from the Crypt presents Bordello of Blood, if that rings any bells for you. For those of you joining us for the first time, the B Movie Club, it's a book club, kind of, only with crazy B movies. Each week I'll post online what movie we'll be doing, and you can send me your favorite quotes, favorite scenes, anything else you want to get off your chest about the movie, any other movie suggestions you might have. You can reach me on Facebook, the original B Movie Club. Don't forget to click the like, little thumbs up thing. Also, you can reach me at YouTube, KD9575. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, I'm on Twitter at KD9575, so check that out. Just reach out and touch somebody. Don't forget to tell all your homies and spread the word. Bordello of Blood. In this movie, basically what we have here is, the movie starts off, it's in Tierra del Fuego, which is in South America. And a group of explorers have uncovered a hidden crypt. In that crypt, they find a body. Shocking, I know, it's a crypt. The body belongs to Lilith, who is the queen of the vampires. They manage to bring her back to life, but they're able to control her with a key, a special key. Flash forward, we're back in the United States, I guess. And now a bordello has opened, a brothel, a house inhabited by whores, run by vampires. It's hidden, it's undercover, it's actually, shockingly enough, in a mortuary. But I guess if you're in the market for horrors, you know, what's a mortuary between friends, I guess? A woman, her brother has mysteriously disappeared after he's attended this place. And she's hired a low-rent detective type named Rafe Goodman, played by Dennis Miller of Saturday Night Live fame. Erica Eleniak plays the woman looking for her brother. Corey Feldman's the brother. It's an all-star cast. What can I tell you? Erica Eleniak works for Chris Sarandon, who's a kind of a televangelist type. There's a lot of layers here, okay? Evidently, what we discover watching this movie is that the televangelist, he is evidently controlling the Lilith, queen of the vampires. All the prostitutes are vampires, and it's their way of kind of cleaning up sinners, getting rid of the sinners. I can't explain it. It's all very convoluted. Dennis Miller, of course, Saturday Night Live. He's, you know, kind of a political figure, commentator type. He was also on Monday Night Football, ever so briefly. Erica Eleniak, you might remember her from kind of the first couple of seasons of Baywatch. Lilith is played by Angie Everhart, who is kind of, I don't know, she was a model, a redheaded model type. She also was in a few movies in the 90s, such as Jade, if you've seen that one. Corey Feldman, of course, is one of the two Coreys. Big in the 80s, not so big in the 90s. What can I tell you? Or in the 2000s, going on today. You know, interesting connection. Corey Feldman obviously was in The Lost Boys, so there's that kind of vampire connection. Chris Sarandon, who plays the televangelist, he was the evil vampire in Fright Night 100 years ago. So there you go. Chris Sarandon is actually Susan Sarandon's ex-husband, so that's why they're both Sarandons. So there you go. Watching this movie, I don't want to say the acting is bad, but I'm going to do it anyway. The acting is really bad. When Dennis Miller's the best actor in the movie, you know there are problems here. Dennis Miller was in a few movies in the 90s, and this was actually the only movie where he was like the headliner, with good reason. He brought his own style of comedy to this, which I think is the only reason why worth watching this movie. He has a lot of hilarious one-liners in this, if you like his level of comedy. Like I said, he didn't go on to do a whole lot of other starring roles after Bordello of Blood. Angie Everhart, not a great actress, which is why she stopped getting roles about this time. Erika Eleniak, also not a great actress. Corey Feldman has his moments in this, but then he just goes so over the top to be ridiculous. What can I tell you? Granted, it's Tales from the Crypt, so what do you want? Originally, it was going to be a trilogy of Tales from the Crypt movies. The first one was Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, which I love and I've already reviewed. This was going to be the sequel, and it was the sequel, but it bombed so horribly at the box office that they actually junked the whole idea of there being another movie. It wasn't until 2001 that they released kind of the third movie in the trilogy. It was called Ritual. Starred Jennifer Grey and Craig Sheffer. And it was really... no one saw this movie. What can I tell you? And they actually didn't even call it Tales from the Crypt Ritual because they were hoping to kind of push it aside and not make any connection to it. So there you have it. The key used in this movie that controlled the vampires was actually the same key used in Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. Like I said, they were trying to tie all these movies together. Anyway, the screenplay, I should say, was written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale, who, of course, we all know did many things, starting with Back to the Future and so on and so forth. Many other things. I don't want to tell too many tales out of school, but they interviewed Corey Feldman on Howard Stern after this movie was coming out, and he said Dennis Miller was a nightmare to work with. How at one point Dennis Miller was totally acting like this diva type and got mad and kind of stole a truck and just stormed off the set. Typically when you act in a movie, they'll aim the camera at one of the actors. They'll do their scene and then they'll move the camera to the actor opposite them and they'll do the same scene again. So they get, the camera will kind of move back and forth. But when Dennis Miller, when he was supposed to be acting opposite Dennis Miller wouldn't be there. So it was like Corey Feldman had to act to the air, basically. So, if that makes any sense at all. They actually interviewed Dennis Miller about his feelings about this movie, and obviously had mixed emotions. It was a total box office stinker. But he looks back fondly on the fact that he got to, one scene he had a super soaker, remember those? Water gun. Filled with holy water that he was spraying the half-naked prostitute vampires with. He liked that part. What can I say? That's just how he rolls, I guess. Okay? What else can I tell you about this movie? The critics, as you might imagine, not a big fan of this. At one point, they felt like the script was riddled with comedy bits that Dennis Miller obviously discarded from his regular act. Not exactly a warm review, to say the least. Again, not the best movie in the world, but I thought there were plenty of scenes, Dennis Miller scenes, that I thought were hilarious. If you like his kind of comedy, because it's obviously, that's his style. Sadly, it currently holds a 15% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, which it probably earned if push comes to shove. Moving on. Next week, I'm going to be going to the comedy genre with the 1982 comedy classic Trading Places, starring Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy. The list goes on and on. All-star cast. So send in your comments, questions, favorite scenes, favorite quotes, anything else you'd like to get off your chest. Again, you can reach me on our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club, on Twitter at KD9575, which is my initials and my birthday. Also on YouTube, also KD9575. As you know, I end every episode with a totally out of context quote, and here it is. If you'll allow me to extend a Duchovnian riff here, I think we're dealing with vampires cuckoo. That is my utterly horrific Dennis Miller impression. See, that's what you get with this show. You get awful impressions of celebrities. You can't get that anywhere else, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for joining us. Next week, Trading Places. Be well.